So here is life board with stages. And I thought about this and thought, well, what if we made it where rather than having it look like a game board like life, we said we had stages. So let's say the first stage is going through high school and college, or going to college or going right into the career force. And then this might be, building your empire, and this might be this, and this might be whatever. So you have these sort of different stages. And what I did here was I said, these, 0 through 20 are part of stage 1. And then 20 through 34 are stage 2. And so this is just another way that we could represent the board. So I think that one thing that we should do pretty quickly, and not that we can't change it, but we can say, how do we want this board to look? Do we want it to look like this, where it's an image and we have just boxes and we move along, and again we can do it like this with the game of life? Or do we want it to look like this, where it's just sort of a straight board, or probably more accurately like this, right? Where we start off like this. I mean, we don't even need a game board, but I think we should if we just decide on a board, then that's a good start. Or we can do it like this, where you start off here and you kind of see where people are in their stages of life, okay? So these are just options that we have. Then the next thing that we have to do really is just add all of our events, and we need to create a spinner, which should be very easy. It's a random clicker. Then we need to have a place where our players can register so we know who's playing. Something to think about, and you can leave this note on this page if I've set up the discussion board, is should we have it where everybody has to be online at the same time? Or I don't know how much of this has to be the player making decisions, or whether it could be, when it's the player's turn, the spinner automatically goes, and they draw their cards. You kind of watch life unfold against you. I don't know that life is really a strategy game or not. It's kind of more like, you're rolling the dice and you're getting stuff. At some point you have to decide whether you want to go to college, when I was reading the rules of life, you have to decide whether you want to go to college, in which case you borrow some money. I guess there are decisions because you have to buy stocks, and you have to decide whether you want to buy houses and stuff like that. All right, so let's just say that you're playing it at the same time. So you'll have your player list, we'll have our spinners, and you'll be able to just sort of watch people move, the other players move through the game, and you'll be able to watch as things happen to them. So, we could probably make this thing happen in the next few days without logic. And by that I mean, if we just said, you draw the card, these things happen to you. You have an opportunity to buy stocks, you have an opportunity to buy a house, you have an opportunity to go to career, you have an opportunity to go to college. All that stuff happens to you. All those things that you guys have been submitting to me, like careers and chance events, all we really have to do is say, what is the impact of this on you if you draw that card? But logic starts turning into, here are things that only happen to you if you're a doctor, or here are things that only happen to you if you are you own a house, or if you have a family, and that will just make it sophisticated. But maybe that's version 2. Maybe version 1 is just 20, 30, 50 events and go from there. So I wanted to show you the back end here. Let's just look at it without the colors, or let's look at it without the sophisticated stuff. And let's just look at a straight game board like this. Okay? So we need to then just decide on what events we want to put in here. Let's say that we have payday every, 5 or 6 items, and every time you go by a payday, it just automatically updates you. The other things that we need to do are things like picking a career, buying a house, buying stock, if we're just hewing to the game, and then we just need to put in our events and track them. So, you know, I'm gonna try to make these pieces of code available to you. I'll put them up online so you can just look at them. But this is pretty, you know, this isn't hard. You could have done this on the first time you learned the array in JavaScript. Then the next thing is just, you know, coloring the board and putting in our squares, and then we should put in a spinner so that you can, you know, roll it and have you move forward. And maybe what I'll do is, and tell me what you think about this. What if I set it up so that you could play it by yourself first so that we can just test it out? Each of us can test it out individually without having to worry about us all being online at the same time. And then we can combine that and we can, you know, make it work together. So just a thought. I'll try to post all this stuff so we can all look at it. All right? So hopefully we'll be in touch in the next couple days.